Chair at this time recognize Mr. Hultgren, the gentleman from Illinois, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Holdren, one of my many constituent physicists, recently reminded me that science comes in two forms. I like the way that he put this. He said that two forms of science are Edisonian science, the application of scientific principles to build stuff, and the Einsteinian science, the effort to discover the basic principles themselves. Our system of free enterprise does a very good job at the Edisonian science. Apple, General Electric, Intel, IBM are all examples of that. And since World War II, the United States has been a global leader in the public investment in Einsteinian science as well. But I'm deeply troubled by the President's budget request, as it seems to be quite a pronounced departure from this half-century legacy of American leadership in fundamental research, especially when high-energy physics has made major concessions, particularly closing down the Tevatron. BES received $110 million of the increase, where all other programs in the Department of Science receive $8 million, $110 million to $8 million. I wonder, do you think that's an equitable distribution, particularly when FermiLab is cut by 8% in the President's budget request in the midst of an important transition to define a new vital U.S. role in particle physics? If you think this is equitable, I want to know what your plans are for FermiLab.
Congressman Hultgren, the concept of equitable is a difficult one to apply in making tough choices among competing scientific priorities. Again, we have gotten tremendous benefit out of FermiLab. We've gotten tremendous benefit out of the Tevatron. But I think in terms of the Tevatron, there are now other machines in which we participate that are more at the cutting edge and are yielding more cutting-edge results than we can now get from the Tevatron. We could still get some good stuff from the Tevatron, and in better times we'd have more funding for it. But we made, as I said, some tough choices here. The FermiLab is a national asset. I want to see it maintained. I want to see it healthy. But I would simply reiterate that in this very demanding environment, we tried to make judgments about where the greatest value at the margin was for an additional dollar that could be added one place or another. And since we had to stay flat overall, dollars added one place had to be taken away in another.
First, I would say FermiLab has been incredibly cooperative as far as shutting down the Tevatron and also in Holdren, in CERN, all the work that's going on there. I know they've been a great partner over there. But I also absolutely believe this is a devastating departure from what we've done historically, our commitment, again, to discovery. Specifically, I want to get onto LBNE, long-base neutrino experiment. It's been extensively reviewed, including by the National Academy, and has been part of the plans for the field for the last 4 years. The President's budget request severely cuts LBNE and does not even provide the funds to sustain the ongoing operations at Homestake. What are the administration's intentions with regard to LBNE, and how is this momentum-killing approach an effective use of taxpayer funding or helping to drive U.S. scientific leadership? Before you answer that, I do want to remind you of the following, that the PBR support for the design of LBNE has been more than halved from fiscal year 2012, and Homestake Mine is already operating at bare bones efficiency, and again, the PBR cuts it further by 33% to levels insufficient to maintain minimum operations.
Well, Congressman Hultgren, I have to say this is really painful. It's painful for me and painful for my colleagues to have had to engage in making these very tough choices. We are interested in keeping LBNE alive. It is, as you noticed, as you pointed out, just limping along in this budget. I wish we could do better, but to do a lot better, we'd have to take the money from someplace else, and our judgment was that the places we're putting it have, at this point, higher potential on the margin. But I cannot tell you how much I sympathize with the view that important scientific projects in which we have invested in the past and would like to continue to invest in the future simply cannot be afforded under the current fiscal restraints. And we are constantly finding ourselves in this position where our friends in the Congress reiterate the dilemma that we already know we have, is that everybody wants to see the deficit shrunk and the overall budget smaller, and everybody at the same time wants to see the projects and programs with which they're most familiar and they know are valuable continued and expanded. And those views are simply, they can't be completely reconciled.
Well, I do want to continue to work with you on this. I just have to disagree. I think there's some things that we can't afford not to do. This is something that's made America great. By us failing to do basic scientific research, we're failing our young people, we're failing our future. And again, there's huge discrepancy there when $110 million of increase goes to one program and $8 million goes to everything else. Something can be done to even that out, to make sure that we're not absolutely cutting the legs out from programs that are doing good work that really are the promise for our future generations. So I do look forward to working with you. With that, I yield back.